spirits. Now let's go live to the voice of the Citadel, Brian McMinn.
All right, thanks a bunch, John Dixon. That's a great introduction. Anytime you get John Dixon, the pipes of God, to drop your voice in there, that's a good thing. This is Beyond the Barracks, and we are at El Jefe tonight. Brian Giffen with Coach Conroy as we dissect another week of Citadel basketball and look, as importantly, forward to another week of Citadel basketball. And Coach, it's good to be with you as always. The Dogs come off a tough game at Johnson City. Not only a tough game, but kind of an eventful process to get there and get back too.
It was obviously a little. Anytime you go on the road, there's some type of adversity, but thankfully we were able to get up there, play the game on time. Many other schools in the Southern Conference were not able to, and trip was safe, and so we were up there for a little while, but and we left early and came back late, but we were able to play the game on time, and that was fortunate.
You made the point before the game, and honestly, it's like a broken record in the SoCon anyway. What a tough opponent they are, ETSU, and it proved to be a tough game for you. One of the things that all of us hope, of course, coming off the Furman game is to have some carryover. Some of the, you're right there, you're scratching and clawing, and it didn't work out that way. But as much as the game kind of got away late in the first half, from a margin perspective, the scrapping and clawing continued. You kind of fought your way closer. You just couldn't quite get all the way back.
A physical game that our guys played. We played very hard in. We played well on the defensive end at times, especially defending their first shot. I thought we were able to get back, take away their transition, which they're very good at. And again, it was another game where scouting report-wise, we took away their first, 2 or 3 strengths, if you will. But we weren't able to finish the plays or do some of the competitive little things you got to do to win games at this level. And in this game, it was certainly the rebounds. We did not clean the board, so they ended up getting over 20 offensive rebounds. That's just too many opportunities for them. Again, the pressure bothered us some. We turned the ball over too many times. So we just gave them too many looks at the basket. But we defended their first shot. They shot a low percentage for the game, a low percentage from 3. We didn't foul them too much. It was just simply, finishing those possessions.
Right.
We worked hard on it today, and that's something that has been a bugaboo for a while with this group. And when we know we're undersized, and we know we could use one more guard in that backcourt, but at the same time, we're looking to improve on those 2 areas.
Well, and as you battle along, it's all part of the game, the attrition aspects of it. Now you've not had Keenan Davis for a couple of games. Again, it's the next man up thing. You have, though, gotten good performances out of a couple of guys. Cameron Glover continues to progress along. You've gotten good work out of him. Shola's had some really, really good performances of late. And look, you're building this thing a brick at a time, and it's a week and a game at a time, and you just got to continue to get better.
No question. I think this week had some positive signs. Starting with the Furman game, I thought that Christian Moore, not only did he come crazy close to making the game-winning basket against Furman with the anticipation on the second shot rebound, which those are the type of plays he makes. Those little small competitive plays. He really has a sense of how to play the game, and it shows up when he's off the ball. Which a lot of guys, it takes them a while to learn that, but he knows how to play and put himself in position to make plays. And now he's starting to shoot the ball well. He made 2 more threes against East Tennessee State. Cam Glover's kind of had back-to-back games where he's found the bottom of the basket from the three-point line and doing what he can do, which was knock down shots for us. And Shola had a monster second half against Furman, and then East Tennessee State had a good game as well.
Honestly, the Furman game and the second half of it, it's hard not to have a 21-2 run and not come away with that with some confidence from it. And it seemed like that's one of those things that just as this has been a little bit tougher, and as you've faced a really, really tough opponents here early in the conference, confidence is a big intangible, and anything you can do to garner some is good, and it helps.
Well, we certainly, the league didn't do us any favors with the schedule, obviously,
right.
But that's the way it is. And, so we're at Sanford, we're Furman, we're Chattanooga, we're at East Tennessee State, and by the way, Greensboro's coming in. Those would be the 5 programs that you would say lately have really been the class of the league,
right.
And the upper half pretty consistently. In the Furman game, like you said, a 21-2 run coming out of halftime. Loved our home crowd in that game. Loved the way we competed, and we finally showed offensively, like, where we can get to execution-wise. And it's when you put these teams together, basically a year at a time now in college basketball, it's a race against time, if you will, an urgency. Can you put the chemistry in this team together? Injuries like we had last year, or missing guys like we are right now with Keenan, like it doesn't help the situation. But you have to have an urgency every day in practice to get better, because a year sounds long at first, but when you're talking about all the things that go into basketball, man, it's tough. And I think you see that in all the sports. The teams that can keep a core together and then add some pieces from the portal are the ones that have done the best. And we've been struggling to kind of keep that core together. But against Furman, I think this team showed what it's capable of. And now that urgency, that race to the finish line, like I talked about, can we build on that? And can we just keep building week by week on that as we go through this conference season?
And the truth of the matter is, too, you really start sometime around June or so to assemble all the parts and get to work on all this. And that's not a whole lot of time, realistically, to get the chemistry, the awareness, indoctrinated into whatever culture, all of those kinds of things. That's quite a process when you're swapping it out every year. And then you add to that the fact that this isn't a vastly experienced group, as we've talked a lot about in terms of D1 play, and it makes it a little bit of a slower climb. It takes a little bit more time to get it all going.
Yeah, so one of the areas that popped up in the East Tennessee game, which we talked about, right? I think East Tennessee and Coach Brooks Savage, we were fortunate to be on staff together at Tennessee, and then he joined our staff at Tulane when I was the head coach there, and so really proud of him and what he's done. Know most of the guys on his staff from all their different stops along the way, and so you kind of root for those guys that are quote unquote within the family, and he's done a great job. They play very physical. They always have great length and athleticism. And on the offensive end, if you're not careful, they'll really break loose in transition and play free there. And in this game, again, getting used to the Division I level, whether it's Brody or John or Cam, we didn't make the decisions we need to around the rim.
Right.
They have really good shot blockers year in, year out. And we got 6 shots blocked. We had 3 shots blocked. We had 6 others that, in grading the film, I felt like should have come back out to the perimeter. We took a tough shot, so we missed it. Even though it's in close, that doesn't mean it's a great shot. And you add that to then the turnovers that we did have, and you just have some empty possessions. Some possessions with what we work on every day, decision-making, weren't there. Do I think this team quickly can learn that lesson and take it forward? Yeah, I do. These guys are working hard. They're a high-character bunch. I told you in the classroom they are 3-5, and they're great representatives. It's not that. It's just more the game experience of seeing that speed. And every game's a little bit different because everybody guards you slightly different or has slightly different, athleticism or length at different positions.
Well, as much as there are ways around it, too, just the pure physicality of some of these teams with regard to, a lot of the 6'9", 6'10", 245, 260, third and fourth year players. I mean, that's a little bit bigger challenge for guys that are relatively new to this level, and you're still a relatively young group too.
There's no question. You can go through things 5-on-0. You can go through drill and skill work and teach, terrifically, and the guys can pay attention and go really hard. But there's nothing like getting on the floor with your teammates and understanding their games and how they're going to respond under pressure or physicality, what you're capable of doing under against certain lengths and things like that. And so it just takes a little bit of time, to realize what you can do. I love other sports as well, and I was just watching Peyton Manning the other day was talking about what's the best way to develop a quarterback. You can't argue with Mahomes just jumping in and doing it, but you also can't argue with the fact that other quarterbacks. Mahomes actually had some, but you can't argue with the fact that he was thrown in the fire and led the league in interceptions, set a record. His first year, and nothing like the game experience for him. And Eli was kind of the same way, but other quarterbacks that have sat behind somebody for a year and then come in and then just hit the ground running, and what is the best way? Well, I don't think there's anything that beats game experience. I think it's just the game experience at the level who you're playing against, because every league's a little different. We play against maybe smaller size than you would have, say, in a Power 4 league. Not necessarily at the center spot, but at the 3 and the 4 spot. Right. But those guys generally are quicker, maybe more physical, lower to the ground, and can shoot that 3 ball better. So, adjusting in the league you're in, what does it take to be successful in that league, and what do you have to do?
It's interesting because we've evolved, or basketball, I think, has evolved to a large extent, where there are a lot of big guys that are 3 ball type shooters. Look at the Brzovic guy from down the street here at the college. Great example level. And, I mean, there are a lot of these guys that are good enough athletes and good enough ball players, good enough shooters that they can hurt you from outside, too. And that makes it a really, really tough thing to win this conference.
And then that allows, when you have that 5, that center that can shoot, they can put a superior athlete out there on the floor who's maybe not as skilled at another spot.
Right.
And there's still good enough floor spacing out there and space for guys to make plays because your center is not around the basket. You can let another guy be guarded, down low there a little bit. I am encouraged. Our last 3 games, I think our defensive numbers and our defensive intensity and all those things have picked up. We're doing a better job in conversion defense and guarding people's transition, which is a key. We just have to get better at, the rebounding and then our decision making on that offensive end, which, like we said, I think a lot of that comes from experience.
The thing is that for the most part, and there are a couple notable exceptions, but you've generally hung in there in the rebounding category in most of these games this year, which is notable. I know rebounding's not all about size, but it helps.
This is the one game where it kind of your fears as a coach and what you're trying to tell them in practice to be ready for and work on. That's why we're blocking out these guys going to the basket and going against dummies so we don't always are hitting bone on bone and different things like that. The coaches sometimes have pads or whatever, but we're trying to do as many different unique drills as we can to get them ready for the games that we know are coming.
Right.
Like East Tennessee State. The game Wednesday night against Greensboro will be another. That'll be a physical game where they're going to go to those boards really hard.
So that's one of those, too, that it's funny for me, being relatively new to the Southern Conference, because the teams, basketball in particular, I think those teams are so similar in a lot of ways that because the colors and everything, I kind of in my brain, I blur Chattanooga, ETSU, and UNCG. It kind of all rolls together. Colors are the same and everything. But
coaches and a great coach league, and you see patterns develop over the course of years, and like I said, you know what Brooks Savage's team at East Tennessee State's going to look like now, and we certainly know what Mike Jones, what his team at Greensboro is going to look like.
That is a Wednesday night game. We'll head up there tomorrow, and the Bulldogs will take on the Spartans at UNCG Wednesday night. That's a 7 o'clock tip. We'll be on the air with pregame coverage here on radio at 6:30 for that ball game. Brian Giffen, Coach Conroy, we're hanging out at El Jefe here on King Street. Lucas is here. Ryan is here. A whole bunch of folks from the Citadel Athletics office is here, and a bunch of patrons here. We're just out here talking basketball on a Monday night, and we invite you to come down here and hang out with us and do the same. Now, I'll note that we will not be here next Monday, I'm told, because of the holiday. So the next Coaches Show will be right here at El Jefe, but it'll be 2 weeks from tonight on the 27th. That's when we'll be back. But again, the Bulldogs will take on UNCG. We'll take a break right here. We'll come back on the other side with more. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network.
I'm Brody Fox. I'm a grad transfer student here at the Citadel. I'm from Matamidi, Minnesota. I would say I started playing for as long as I can remember. My dad was my coach and my brother's coach all growing up. So I don't really remember when I started playing, but it's just been my whole life. Before my time here at the Citadel, I played 4 years at University of Wisconsin Stout, where I ended up getting my degree and then transferring here for my last year at the Citadel. Yeah, I would say on my visit, just the connection I made with the coaches and former and past players, as well as Charleston being a city that I want to live in. Yeah, I would say honestly just the weather and having beaches coming all the way from Minnesota. I'm curious what the summer is going to be like, so definitely the weather. Yeah, I'd say just a hard-working player that's going to do the right things on and off the court and just honestly works hard and just does what he needs to be doing for the team to win. I'm a big, I would say, slasher and just aggressive getting to the rim. LeBron James. I would say listen to music, chill out with friends, FaceTime with friends back home and family as well.
I'm Cameron Glover. I'm a senior. I play point guard and I'm from Trussville, Alabama. So I've been playing basketball since I was 5. And my dad got me into the game. He got me and my brother into the game. And so I played all the way through high school. I started at Division III, so I was at a Division III called Birmingham Southern Alabama. I played there for 3 years. And then I transferred to the University of Montevallo, a Division II. I played there this past year. And then I decided for my last year I wanted to make the next jump and ended up coming to the Citadel. So the coaching staff, I connected really well to Coach Conroy and Coach Reynolds in the city of Charleston. It just has a lot to offer. So definitely the beaches. Being able to get to the beach, spend time with the guys there has been my most enjoyable part of being here. So just to come in and be myself, add that leadership and veteran experience, and then add some outside shooting as well. I'd say I'm a combo guard. I can shoot it and I can play make. So being able to do both of those is kind of the aspects of my game that I bring. So that's a tough one. I'd probably say either Kyrie Irving or Kobe Bryant. Spend time with my friends and watch Netflix. So.
Cafe on King Street here in downtown Charleston. Brian Giffen, Coach Conroy in the house also. And our guest right now is the leading scorer for the Bulldogs. And now they're catching up. They're creeping up on you a little bit, but Brody Fox hangs out with us here. And obviously you guys come off this game, Brody, where up at a little bit of a challenging trip up there to begin with as we went to East Tennessee State. But game wasn't what you guys were looking for results-wise, but there was no quit in you, and you hung in there and kind of tried to scratch your way back in it late and just didn't have enough time to get it done.
Yeah, we've been talking about coming out strong. We've just been struggling with that. You know, we're all ready to play physical. We got to be way more physical, and I think that starts with me for sure. I got to be the guy that's, you know, if I'm taking the most shots, like Coach said, I have to be the most physical, and I have to work harder on defense. So,
is there an element you think? I mean, Coach and I talked a few minutes ago about it. The Furman game's a great example where you guys come out in the second half, guns blazing, you go off on this 21-2 run. But there was a vision there. There was confidence there that really wasn't as prevalent the last few games, just because they've been tough. And confidence is an important intent. You know you can play,
yes,
but still translating that to a group of 5 on the floor and all that stuff sometimes can be tough.
Yeah, that felt good, that second half of the Furman game. And I was just telling the guys, I think me and John were talking about, we just got to remember what that felt like. And then obviously playing at home, the fans showed out too. So shout out to the cadets for coming out, and shout out to the fans too. We're going to need them, and they help us a lot.
So, you know, you transitioned to this level for this season, and I'd love to get your thoughts on how much different it is than where you were, for one. What are the biggest differences?
Yeah. Biggest differences, I would say physicality, size, and just everything's just more scouted. Everything's just kind of, I wouldn't say harder to get to your spots, but you know, they're guarding you a little extra harder. But at the end of the day, like I said before, it's basketball, but it's definitely the size and the speed's definitely there.
Would you say that you've learned a lot from this year so far through the 15 games? I mean, obviously you've been playing this game a long time, but still, you know, the day you stop learning is the day you stop living. After all,
a lot. I've learned a lot. Obviously, I've learned a lot from my dad coaching me growing up, Coach Lake at my last school, but but Ed's just it's just so many more details and just so many more things I've learned about the game. That high school to college jump was crazy, and then this college jump to my last college jump to this college jump is even crazier.
You and I had a bit of a laugh about this when we got to Johnson City, and then the snow was coming down. Look, you're from Minnesota, man.
Right.
You've done the snow thing, but a lot of these guys that are from the South don't see a whole lot of snow.
Right. They all had their phones out and stuff.
Right.
I was like, this feels like a normal game for me.
The funny thing about it is, when I lived in Atlanta, it was this way too. When you'd see people just lose their minds trying to drive on it, and you've been doing it forever. You learned to drive.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to brake at least way more than half the distance that you actually think. You start sliding.
You really are not being careful for you. You're being careful because of
100%.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. So you guys are going to take on UNCG now, and this is, obviously, conference play, man, it's a grind.
Sure.
One game after the next, and regardless, great result, tough result, you've got to pick the pieces up and keep rocking.
Yep, got to move on right away. Learn about what they do, what they're going to do to us. Coach Reynolds does a great job with what we're going to do on the offensive end, and then obviously Coach Conroy as well. And we're just learning on the run, but you can't hold your head on those games. You got to look forward and try to get the next dub.
Right. I mean, the one thing, and we saw this a bit last year after the Bulldogs unfortunately lost a couple guys right at the outset of conference play, and it altered the whole way they had to play the game. So it was really, really tough out of the blocks, and it's been tough out of the blocks this year too. But as the season goes along and as you become more battle-tested and you deal with these kind of games twice a week and weekend, it toughens you up that much, and next thing you know, you look up and you're hanging with all of them.
For sure. Yeah. Like I said, we just got to be more physical from the jump, and I got confidence with all my teammates, and we're ready to go get some wins here.
So, of the things you've gotten to do this year, I mean, the Boston College game had to be a cool experience for you, just because
cool.
But what are some of the experiences that have stood out for you this year so far?
For sure, I would say I just had a great summer here in Charleston. Honestly, people always ask me what the city's like. I just tell them it's honestly one of the best cities in the country. I'd say that Boston College was really cool. I would say Vanderbilt too was really cool. I like the arena a lot. Obviously, we didn't play our best there.
It was a tough night in there.
It was kind of just cool to look around and just think I'm really playing here right now. It was kind of cool.
Do you plan? I've got a long talk with your dad a little bit just at McAllister here recently after a game, and they were just seated right there next to where I set up, and I was tearing down and had some. Do you plan to stay in the game after you're done playing it? Do you plan to coach like your dad did?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to play as long as I can.
Right, of course.
Go from there, and then I don't know if it's gonna be coaching or more just skill development or something along those lines. But yeah, my plan is to just play as long as I can.
I think it's awfully hard. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting here as an announcer because at some point or the other they took everything away. They had to find a way. But I think a lot of people, when you've lived something so long and it's such a big part of your life and it takes you places, and it's hard to not want to be in it because it's been your life.
100%. Yeah, I don't want to make basketball just the only thing in my life, but it's taken me. It's the reason why we're sitting here right now. It's the reason why I get to experience all these things, and I'm grateful for it. But I'm more than just a basketball player as well. So.
Right. When you look at the Citadel from an educational standpoint, that presented a great opportunity 100%. For you also.
Yeah, that was awesome. On my visit, me and JR met with Gaylord up at the football. He basically sat me down and told me just of all the advantages of the Citadel, and told me the history and stuff about it, and it made me really sit down and think about not a lot of other places had that talk with me, and told me where it could bring me in the future.
So when you started playing basketball, what were you, 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah, probably 4. I was also ice skate. I was playing hockey. I was playing soccer. I was playing football as well. So.
Now, in Indiana, where I'm from, a huge basketball stadium, there'll just be a hoop nailed to the side of a barn somewhere. Yep. What do they do in Minnesota where it snows so much?
Hockey
just
rinks.
Clear it all out of the way?
You're inside.
Play inside the barn.
100%, yeah.
No, that's cool. So you played a considerable amount of hockey too.
Yeah, I live a block. I grew up a block away from the outdoor rinks, so yeah.
It's funny. It's spread a little bit now, but there still is the passion for hockey is so centralized in the Great Lakes region of the country. Doesn't mean that it's not a great, and there are a lot of people now that have transplanted and gone other places, but when I traveled, particularly in baseball, the places I've found the most passionate fan bases for hockey are the Northeast and all along the Great Lakes and anywhere up near the Canadian border. It's just something that you're born with and you just live with forever.
100%. Yeah, up north, like even people in Minnesota, like they think like the NHL is like on the level of the NBA. But like you come down here, come to the South, like no one's even talking about hockey down here. But
although in Nashville, you know, that's a great example of the expansion and growth and some of that stuff. Nashville's got a thriving franchise.
They're loving it down there.
Yeah, they've done well.
For sure.
Yeah, so we're visiting with Brody Fox, by the way, of the Bulldogs, and this is one of those rare opportunities, you know, a pregame or even a postgame hit with somebody is more of a 2 or 3 minute thing, but these are kind of cool. You just get to kick it and talk a little bit about stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
but so UNCG will go up there tomorrow. The game is Wednesday. In your mind, what do you guys have to do well to get out of there with what you're looking for?
Yeah, like we've been talking about, we have to come out punching. We have to come out with physicality. We have to space the floor better. I have to do a better job spacing the floor. We just got to play physical, and we got to rebound as well. That killed us in our last game. So we got to get hits, and we got to play just harder, I'd say.
You know, even courtside where I am, it's not always apparent, but one of the loudest outbursts of passion and a let's go charge type of thing I've seen so far was Paxton in one of these games a couple of games ago where he had a really good second half against somebody. I forget who it was now, but how much does that matter to have a guy on the floor that's like a rah, let's go, let's you know,
for sure,
vocal leader, I guess.
Paxton plays with a lot of passion, and you know, I think that's why he's a great player for us. He's going to have to continue to do that for us, and we're going to have to, you know, get to his level and be able to compete with that passion as well.
Well, Brody, we appreciate you coming over, man.
Awesome, man.
Look forward to seeing you on the bus ride tomorrow.
For sure,
Didn't we just do this?
Yeah, literally every week it feels like.
Right. Brody Fox of the Bulldogs spending time with us here on Beyond the Barracks. We will step aside and take a timeout right here. On the other side, we'll bring Del Harris up here. That Del Harris. No, different Del Harris than the one some of you basketball-wise might know. But Del will be up here. We'll talk a little bit about his background, how the season's going for him. All of that comes your way after this. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network.
My name is Shola Adebisi. I'm from Alpharetta, Georgia. My position is forward, and I'm a junior. From my childhood, my two older brothers, Tawani and Kaude, they were the ones that put basketball in my hands, and since then I've been playing basketball. Once I got into college, I was a regular student at Florida State for a couple of years, and then I walked onto the team there, and now I'm at the Citadel on scholarship. I chose the Citadel because when I came on my visit, I met all the coaching staff and a couple of the players, and it felt like everybody was close together, and I wanted to come to a situation where the coaches and the team felt like a family. So far, I would probably say the food. Every restaurant I go to in Charleston, there's always great food, and the weather's pretty nice too as well. For me, Bulldog fans can expect a lot of intensity, athleticism, and just a passion for the game of basketball. LeBron James, that's the easy answer. Outside of basketball, I like to spend a lot of time with my teammates, but other than that, if I'm alone, I like to listen to music, play video games, and that's really about it.
I started playing basketball around 5 years old, played in a very small town in Massachusetts, and then I went off to high school at Wilbraham Munson Academy, boarding school up in Western Massachusetts. Played there for all 4 years of my high school, and then also played AAU with Expressions Elite out of the Nike EYBL, and then played my undergraduate career in college at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, which is in Worcester, Massachusetts. I chose the Citadel because I thought it was an incredible opportunity to get my master's degree. I'm getting my MBA along with playing Division I basketball and being challenged on and off the court. Charleston's a beautiful city. I absolutely love that it's on the water, the beaches, the golf courses, along with all the people in the small, intimate city. Bulldog fans can expect that I'm a workhorse. I'll leave it all out there on the court. I'm gritty, and I'll give all my energy. I'll be a great leader, along with helping the team anything I can do to help the team win. Yeah, my playing style is a little different. I'd say, like I said, very tough, looking for contact, trying to be the most physical player out there. If I had to do a comparison, I'd say Nikola Jokic. However, definitely a more physical play style rather than the touch and finesse that he has. My favorite player growing up was Kevin Garnett. Really liked his like big dog, tough mentality. I wouldn't say I'm that much of a trash talker as much as Kevin Garnett. However, he was definitely the toughest guy on the court. Outside of basketball, I love to read and write, along with go to church, and yeah, then from there just chill with my guys around here as well as my friends from home.
Brian Giffen and Coach Conroy. It is Beyond the Barracks, our Monday night Citadel athletics program that started back at the beginning of football season. Our guest now, though, is Del Harris, assistant coach here with Citadel basketball, and I've joked with you since I met you. Nope, not that Del Harris. And look, I'm dating myself here. Heck, for the longest time, nobody else would. No, I'm dating myself here that Del Harris was the head coach of the Houston Rockets when they took on the Celtics in the 1981 NBA Finals. Now, do you go back that far?
Yeah, no. I'm the 5'9" Del Harris with no NBA wins from Virginia.
Yeah, but still, when I first heard that, I'm like, surely that's not. And then when I met you, of course, obviously I knew. But let's talk a little bit about what brought you here. Obviously, you got a pretty vast background in the game. How'd you end up here?
Well, I had been a head high school coach for 8 years and was fortunate enough to be at several different colleges before, and wanted to return, but I wanted to make sure there was a place that was right for me, and obviously the integrity, the respect here at Citadel, and such a national great program. And then Coach Conroy and I had never met personally, but he's so well respected nationally in the business, and it just worked out late. I was doing a USA basketball event, and these basketball community is very small, and so it worked out, and this was the right place, right fit at the right time for me, and so very grateful to be here.
He and I talked a little bit about this last week. I mean, it's amazing when you pull back and look at it, how big a fraternity our business kind of is, and really whether it's coaching, administrative, radio, whatever it is you're doing, because you end up running across people that and working with them that you've coached against at some point or the other, and things like that. You end up having contacts and connections all over the place that, unless you're playing them, you might even shoot them. Hey, man, go get them tonight.
Yes. No, it's a relationship business, and again, the relationships worked out, and here I am.
So you spent some time. You're from Virginia.
Yes, sir. Yep, from Richmond, Virginia. Again, as I said, the past 8 years I've been the head high school coach at Collegiate School, a very prestigious private school in Richmond, Virginia, and then was also a director of one of the top AAU programs on the East Coast on the Hoop Group Circuit Team Richmond. And before that, though, was spent some time at University of Richmond, VMI. The Spiders, yes, sir. Great program. But at Richmond, VMI, Morgan State, and then was a head college coach for 5 years at Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Now, having been on the VMI side, side of it, and now you're on the Citadel side of it. That's going to be kind of a cool thing, isn't it, to experience that rivalry from really all sides?
Yes, sir. No, we'll be excited to get back to Virginia and get back home. And obviously, they're a great institution and a good program, and enjoyed my time there. But I'm a Fork Union Military Academy graduate too, so I'm excited about the military academy I'm at now. So
let's talk a little bit about the evolution of the game. I mean, because realistically, you've seen it now on the collegiate side, and obviously, the high school side of it matters really just as much now that we're in the age of, you've got agents that are contacting high school players. Somehow there's got to be a way to keep that in check to whatever degree where it all stays above board, right? I mean, it's kind of a vast array of people that are out there, and how much do we want agents messing around with high school kids?
Yeah.
That's just, in the NIL era, though, I mean, to be honest, it's a concern, isn't it?
Yes. No, obviously basketball, at the high school level with NIL, and the game has changed, as you said.
Right.
But to me, I like to keep it very simple. It's still about fundamentals.
Right, of course.
Still about 5-on-5 and guys playing for the joy and the love. Obviously, there's a money component in it, but, you hope that everybody still will want to play for the love of the game.
To be honest with you, too, the sport itself doesn't change, but roster construction, and really any kind of development possibilities almost are gone by the boards because you're developing people for other programs, and that's just a big adjustment from how it's always been.
Well, yes, sir. I mean, I think it goes back to what I said, the fundamentals and then relationships, right? And so you got to build those relationships, get your system in, and make sure you got the right guys to come together collectively as a unit. And that's where the game is, though. And how fast can you do that, right?
Right. From a coaching perspective, this has got to be a really interesting group to work with. And I watch you guys in practices, especially on the road and this and that. It's got to be a really interesting group to work with because, for one, the chemistry in this group really began back in June or whatever it was. But a lot of these guys most of them, in fact, are still trying to get acclimated to this level of basketball. They're trying to get acclimated to this system and working together with each other and all that stuff. And it's fascinating as a coach because, if you're a teacher and you want to teach, you've got great opportunities to teach every minute.
But you know what? Nobody wants to hear it, right? But it takes time.
Right.
And, Coach Conroy is a fantastic technician and teacher, and he's teaching every day, and we follow his lead. And, again, it's going to happen. The kids are coachable. They like each other. They get along. They have good rapport, good relationship. And, you just got to keep swinging that bat and just try to get to first base, get to second base.
Right.
Everybody wants a home run, right? But sometimes that's just not practical in the way things happen. So we'll keep swinging the bat and fundamentals and listening to Coach and taking his lead, and I think we're going to get there.
The strongest buildings are built a brick at a time, they always say, and that's not a process that happens. We just live in an era with social media where, there's zero tolerance for things that take time, and unfortunately, to really do it right is going to take time.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, right, the Detroit Lions are the number one seed, right? Everybody gave up on the Lions, right? They'll never win,
Right.
But, Dan Campbell, brick by brick, right?
Yeah.
And so, no different here. And, again, we're learning, growing. Still a lot of time left in the conference schedule, and so we'll keep looking to improve.
That's an amazing point that you make, bringing him up, because I think he's emblematic of what it takes from the standpoint of the kind of guy that guys want to get behind and play for. That does matter.
It does matter.
And I mean, even at the highest paid, whatever it is, levels, it still matters. I honestly believe that Jim Harbaugh has had considerable success as a coach, especially at the pro level, because he comes in and he instills this fiery toughness mentality to get after people and almost walk around a little bit of swagger to you. Mm-hmm. Now, in his case, and sometimes with high-paid players, it may wear off after a couple of years or whatever. The message wears a little bit thin, but guys like that, though, the psychological aspect of that these guys get guys to play for them with, that's a gift.
Yes.
And it's a very important intangible, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It is. And, the cliche word, right? People throw it around, culture, right? But culture is, the people in the building, right? How the building operates and the little things, the details, dotting I's, crossing the T's. It's not just saying it, it's actually living it.
Yeah.
And the people who are able to, again, he's a great example of changing that, and, definitely think we have that here.
Yeah. Well, you guys take on UNCG tomorrow and day after tomorrow.
Yes,
But obviously, you guys kind of scout these things as a group. What are your impressions of UNCG? And Coach talked a little bit about them. They're kind of another big physical SoCon team.
Yeah, no, traditional SoCon team, and I'm new to this. I just got here since September, but physical, very good defensively, well coached. Every program in the league is well coached, so we got to be prepared to defend and move the ball and play our style of basketball, and just get back to playing Citadel basketball. That's really what we're looking forward to, and a tough challenge, and excited about being in Greensboro.
You know, everybody always says it, and it may be the most Mr. Obvious statement ever, but the reality is a fast start is such a big deal because you get an injection of confidence right out of the gate, and you get going. But it's always easy to say that, but the other team's trying to start fast too.
Yes, that's the beauty of competition.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. No question about it. Del, really appreciate you coming over, man. It's great to have you here, and obviously we'll visit with you more as the season goes along. But every time I talk about you, I'm like, it's not that Del Harris. It's this Del Harris.
No, that guy's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, we're just having some fun with it. But obviously, a name that stood out for me. I was a kid, and I hate to admit it, Del, but I was rooting for the Celtics. That was a long time ago. But really appreciate it, man. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the trip up.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Bulldogs assistant coach Del Harris spending some time with us here on Beyond the Barracks, which, by the way, is presented by Cutwater Spirits, and we do it here at El Jefe most of basketball season. Another reminder, we will not have a Beyond the Barracks next Monday.
Braylon Smith, class 2028. I'm from Augusta, Georgia, and I'm point guard. I'd say I started playing basketball around probably as soon as I can remember, so I say about 3, 4. My mom played basketball. I've come from a line of athletes, so kind of basketball, sports, everything was just around me at a young age. I'd say that my basketball career so far has been kind of fun, a little up and down here and there, but for the most part it's been really enjoyable for me, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. I definitely enjoy the coaches, everything that they basically showed me around. They made me feel kind of at home, and the guys on my visit, they definitely for sure made it seem very a welcoming environment, and I enjoy it. My favorite thing about Charleston so far would be the beaches, because we don't have many beaches where I'm from, so yeah, I would say that for sure. I would say a lot of energy, defense, scoring, a lot of flashy plays, things to get them out of their seats and something to cheer for. I would say my playing style is more of a shifty guard that's fast, can get to wherever he wants when he wants, and is a good scorer, can score the best of them, gets his teammates open. Yeah, good point guard basically all around.
My name is Eze Wally. I'm a freshman. I'm a point guard, and I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I started playing basketball pretty late. I started playing basketball at the age of 12. Kind of got into it by my friends playing. I played baseball at first, but my friends started playing. I got into it. I fell in love with the game here right after, and I'm here. Definitely the coaching staff. When I came on my visit, Coach Conroy, Coach Reynolds, even the kids even the teammates on the team made me feel at home, and I felt really comfortable here. And they showed the most amount of love to get me to come here. Definitely still my teammates. It doesn't matter where we are, in the room, on the court, or just downtown. Just hanging out with my teammates is probably my most favorite part. I'm definitely a downhill guard. Get into the paint, get the ball to my teammates, throw some lobs, bring some energy, score when it's needed. Definitely LeBron James. He's the GOAT, the best player of all time. Probably read, watch some movies, hang out with friends.
We're back on Beyond the Barracks, final segment of it this week. It's presented, by the way, by Cutwater Spirits, and we're live at El Jefe here on King Street in downtown Charleston. Brian Giffen and Coach Conroy is back up here now as we talk Citadel basketball, and now you get ready and set your sights on UNCG. We head up there tomorrow, and of course the game will be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. You kind of previewed a little bit of what they are, another big physical, very talented SoCon basketball team.
No question. Coach Jones has done a great job of instilling his culture there, where regardless of who comes in each year on transfers, and they had a long run with some core guys that they've had to replace, but they're going to defend really hard. They'll make it really hard to get in offense, make things clean and look pretty. They really get into the ball on the side, and they make sure on ball screens and things like that they're very aggressive. So we're going to have to do a really good job of being ball tough, which we've struggled with recently, to be honest with you, and we need to do better at that. But we need to be ball tough, take care of that basketball, get it to where we need it to be, and then convert those plays. And it's one of those deals where the first 10 minutes of each half, what I want to see out of our guys is just incredible mental and physical toughness, so that we can get ourselves, when we're at our best, it's like the Furman second half, where we're putting you in foul pressure.
Right.
And we're in the bonus with 10, 11, 12 minutes to go in the half. You're not. We're being disciplined and not fouling, not turning the ball over. We're putting you in foul trouble, so that at the end of the game, we're getting a chance, which we did against Furman. We just didn't convert. But at the end of the game against Furman, we went 1 for 9 in overtime from the free throw line. But it was very hard for Furman to stop us from scoring, because you had to do it cleanly, without fouling, without giving us obviously a shot we can make. So we put a lot of pressure on you, because we put that foul pressure on you early in the half and make you play for 10 minutes each half in the bonus. And we were shooting 2 free throws the last 6-7 minutes of the Furman game and overtime. So 11 minutes of that should have been a game that we scored 20 plus points in that free throw line and took it away. Instead, we shot really poorly. But that's what we need to do against Greensboro. We need to be strong with that ball, get it to where we want to, where it's hard for you to guard us without fouling us at that point. And then those fouls slowly mount up, so the score may be even. We may even be down a little bit the first 10 minutes of each half, but then the pressure of that defending us without fouling just takes over and overwhelms you.
And this is a group that, again, is kind of continuing to feel their way at this level. But as you play these conference games and encounter these challenges, you're going to get better by default as you go along, because you're developing that toughness, because you see right in front of you what it takes to win.
Yeah, no question. Game experience. This is going to be looking forward to it, getting on the road with our guys. And we've always been a great road program, if you will, because we get back. We make you score against 5 guys, because we clear the boards and we do our job on the boards, which, those 2 things we've done better at the defense lately. Getting back, we have not done better at the rebounding. But because we defend and rebound and take care of the ball, we always have a chance on the road. We have to shore it up. We have to just defend better. Take care of the boards better and take care of the ball better, and then play smart basketball, and we'll be back to being that good road team that we've always been.
Do you enjoy the road? Honestly, I've talked to a lot of coaches over the years, and I think almost the majority of them would tell you they liked the road better because they had their team's full attention and focus, and there were fewer distractions. Where are you on that?
I am 100% the road. Yeah. I really am. It's not because I don't appreciate every school I've been at, home crowd. I love home games when you're at Reynolds Coliseum at NC State, or Williams Arena at Minnesota, or at Vanderbilt, places like that, and you just McAllister Fieldhouse. You love those those home wins. You love sharing it with your home crowd, the people that really support you. But when you go on the road and it's you and your team against everybody, those are just the greatest feelings. And that's why I've always treated our team to ice cream or something different after the game on the road. Make a big deal about them. The competitor in me, when I'm sitting by myself sometimes, and thinking back, I think back to great road wins. I really do. Right. Just because those are the ones that just, you're up against it. You're probably up against the refs, the home crowd. Those guys are playing, their best basketball, and you just put a dagger in them. And that's the competitor. And I've always joked that they can say what they want about me, and my wife Jenny's sitting over there, she'll probably kill me if she hears this, but they don't need to put. I hope they put that I was a good husband and father to my kids and all that, but I hope at the bottom somewhere they just put and he won on the road. Like that to me is what I really, I feel like we always have done that. I look back to when we won 20 games here at the Citadel, we won 9 or 10 games on the road, and that's just, I don't know if that'll ever be matched. And I love when you can go on the road with your team and win games. And like I said, everywhere we've been, we were at Tulane, and I remember we won for the first time. It had never been done before, but we won on the first time at Cincinnati.
Wow.
51-50, and just a grinder against the good Cincinnati teams. And we won on at the end, and it was the first time they'd ever won at Cincinnati. And then later on that year, we won at Memphis, and they hadn't done that in 25 years. And those two things had never happened together in the same year. And I just, like, that's when when your team is tough enough to go on the road and win, that's when you got somebody that can make its way into the big dance. And so that's just a great feeling.
To be honest with you, I think the joy in overcoming the fact that all of it's stacked against you, the crowd, like you said, maybe some home cooking in the official, whatever it is. But I think just overcoming all that and coming out with a big win on the road is it's one of the greatest things, adrenaline-wise, that I've gotten to do as a broadcaster.
I can remember even as a player, and I don't like to talk much about that, and obviously a lot of players better than I was, but like when you take pride in your position, and you try to take pride in everything. I got pride in my family. I got pride that I'm from the Midwest. I got pride that I play the position of point guard.
Right.
What does that mean? And to me, what that always meant was, if you're a point guard and I'm on the road, like, Coach, hey, this is out of your hands. It's too loud for us to hear what you're saying.
Right.
You only got so many timeouts.
I
got this. And, my thing was, just give me the ball. And the louder they are, the louder those guys are, they're going to have to put up with me the slower I'm going to play. And then when they get quiet, I'm going to let you see what I can do. And that's how I felt as a point guard. I'm going to control that tempo, that pace. And it was on me, not on my coaches, not on anybody else, not on my teammates. It was on me as a point guard. Let's go get this win on the road. And that was something I felt I had control over.
Yeah, that's. I think that's all part of the great things that it's hard to describe it, but the euphoric things that you get from sports. Winning big wins like that, the adrenaline, all that stuff. If you had to identify one, what would you say your favorite venue you've ever coached in is? Just curious.
There's been a lot of them, but going on the road and winning in Cameron, or going on the road, and I think Fog Allen Fieldhouse would be right up there at the top of my list. I think it still might be, I would put currently Mackey Arena at Purdue.
Right.
Which we were really, we had great success, and I kind of took a lot of personal pride in that.
As a Lions den.
Yeah, with the scouting reports and getting our team ready. I always felt like I was just obsessed with Purdue. And we were able to go there a couple times and get wins when nobody else could. But when I was a player, we played at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. And again, just my mentality, going back to the Midwest and as a point guard, I felt like it doesn't matter if I score tonight. I've got to control this tempo for Coach. And we got to have a chance to win. And, with Danny and the Miracles, our Citadel team went up there, and, that was a national championship team coached by Coach Brown and those guys. And they had the ball out of bounds with 5 seconds left. I'll never forget it. And we were able to get the deflection and the steal. And we missed a shot at the top of the key that would have won the game. So we ended up losing by 1. Went home for Christmas devastated. But I always liken that to, you're a quarterback in the 2-minute drill, and you're the point guard. The louder you get, like you're going crazy because you just got a sack, the slower I'm going to play. I'm going to make sure my team is calm, and I'm going to get us this next play completed or positive yardage. And then when you get really quiet, because I just threw one downfield 20 yards down and out, and we got out of bounds, and you're really quiet, then I'm going to run up that line, I'm going to play even faster, I'm going to show you what I can do now. And that's what I love to see, when kids find that level of competitiveness, that they're not afraid and no fear. And we're yet to get there with this year's group, but that's what I'm trying to instill in them.
Well, obviously, day after tomorrow, you'll have another opportunity against UNC Greensboro. I always struggle with that. I don't know why. But if you had to identify one or two things you've got to do better, what are they?
Take care of the ball and absolutely be men on the boards. We've got to box out and quit letting people get second shots. We've done a better job of getting back, like I said. Like that sometimes can be take a little while, but this team has finally figured out, like, we better get back and keep score against 5. Now we need to take care of the ball better and make sure you only get one shot at it. And that's our next step.
Well, that will about wrap Beyond the Barracks, which is presented by Cutwater Spirits. I want to say thanks to Coach. As always, we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we all head up to Greensboro.
Thank you. Go Dogs.
All right, Coach Conroy and the Go Dogs right at the end. But also thanks to Brody Fox.
Hey, I'm Paxton Davidson. I am a junior this year. I'm from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and I'm a shooting guard / point guard. I'd say from a young age, I loved playing sports. I was super competitive. My dad was the one that really got me into basketball. From a young age, I was always out in the backyard playing basketball with him, and it kind of just went from there. Got really good at it, I guess, because of his help, and got to high school and got pretty good, I guess, and just kept playing and kept getting better. So now that I had the opportunity to come to the Citadel, I said, why not, and let's do it. I think it has a lot to do with culture and a coach that wants you. That's the two biggest reasons why I came, and an opportunity to come somewhere else. So I'm going to say the food. Charleston has some of the best food I've had so far. A lot of grit, a lot of competitiveness, and hopefully a lot of threes going in. Like I said, pretty gritty, really competitive. I'm always going to give 100% on the court at all times, and hopefully make a lot of buckets and be a good teammate. Favorite basketball player growing up was Kobe Bryant. I'd say probably now it's more towards Steph Curry. I love playing video games outside of basketball, but I'm really into a health kick and going on walks and a lot of that kind of stuff. So.
I'm Dante Curse, small forward, class of 2028, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I started at a young age, I'll say probably around like 8 or 9, and then I started playing AAU like the age of 13, and then ever since I've just been working my way up. I felt like I can become a better person, a better man, get better every day. There's really no distractions here, so I can just really lock in on what I'm trying to accomplish. I'll probably say like downtown. It give me like the Richmond vibes, like the city. It's a lot going on down there. I hope to bring a lot of energy, do whatever it takes for me and my team to win, and just be positive all the time. I would say I'm a very versatile player. I can get a lot of stops on the defensive end, help my teammates to score. Kevin Durant, video game.